Hello everyone and welcome back to WesterosCraft Walks. I'm your host Kobe.
And I'm Lucia.
And today we are gonna have a look at House Thorne. But at the moment we are still at Mallory, where we were last time, in this little sept. Andy wanted us to show this little sept because he likes it, so a shout out to Andy. It's a nice sept hidden away in the forest.
And Dragons wanted us to show it too.
Oh yeah, Dragon's the project lead. Over there is a little river, but Thorne isn't that big, so we're gonna walk through the Mallory lands a little longer. You can see over here this it's a little hidden away. You wouldn't really see it if you didn't know where it was. But as well the terrain. I like the terrain. We commented on it last time as well.
Yeah, I do like what you were touching on, what you said then, where it's kind of hidden away. It kind of alludes to the aspect that the sept's a bit older and that the foliage of the forest has kind of grown around it and hidden it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Andy was also the one that did the terraforming. So we have these woods to thank for him and the nice little lakes.
I like the little woods, especially with the windmills. I don't know, something about windmills. In real life and in game, I like a nice windmill. Yeah,
so we are gonna have a quick look at the castle as well, because we were a little critical last week, but luckily Dragons, the project lead, didn't take it personally. And he did change some stuff, so he did take our criticism. So yeah, maybe we were a little harsh, maybe. So sorry for that, but yeah. Luckily he made some changes. He listened to the criticism. So we have a little sneak peek in the castle, but just at the gatehouse, which was the main thing we criticized. I
mean, for me, aesthetically, I like the castle, but it's just the only issue we had is some of the defense things were a bit lacking. That kind of, I don't know, it's functional, but then strategically, yeah.
So over here they got an extra defense there, so yeah, there are some other changes as well. So yeah.
But I like a nice Norman style keep.
Yeah, they're always quite nice. They're like, usually it's just like a tower, but I like what Dragons did here with the surrounding area as well. It makes it bigger.
Yeah, especially when you look at it from the outside, because as I said in last week's episode, the buildings around the castle are shorter, so you don't really see them from the outside. So it's kind of it looks deceptively smaller than it is, and then you come inside and you realise how huge it is.
Mm-hmm. So now we're actually moving on to Thorne, which is over here on the map. Not gonna walk there all the way. We're just at the border. Behind us is Mallory, the Mallory lands, and this is the entrance to the Thorne lands, which isn't that large. We have a little watch tower here, which we will have a nice overlook over the lands. But yeah, it is located in the Crown Lands still, and semi-canon sources say that the banner, the sigil, looks like this. I'll put it on screen right now. So it's a silver flail on the red background with a black border around it. So it is semi-canon sources, so it's not full canon. But yeah, we are gonna get a closer look at the castle itself. And they have this nice field system around it that kind of centers on the castle and the village and kind of radiates outwards in a circular pattern. Over there you can get a first look at the Norman style keep. You got the pastures and the fields around here. Did you want to say anything about the fields, or should we go into the characters?
I mean, maybe this is for dye, because you see all the different crops.
Right, mustard, I think that is.
Oh, mustard. So you've got the different crops you see there. Initially there was peas and pumpkins. So, I mean, in the area around here, they have a really big variety of crops. So theoretically, the people here should be healthy-ish.
Not sure what the blue ones are, though. But someone will probably find out. But yeah, going into the characters, there's 3 characters that we know of. 2 of them are in the history, so we'll start with those. So the first one is Sir Rickard Thorne. He was a knight of the Kingsguard during the reign of Viserys I. That's pretty much what we know about that one. Then we also have Sir Adrian Thorne. He was the commander of the City Watch of King's Landing during the reign of Aegon III. And then Lucia will go over the Thorne that you probably know from the series.
So, House Thorne contributed troops to the defence of King's Landing during the sack of King's Landing in 281 AC, and Sir Alliser Thorne was actually on the battlements of King's Landing whilst Tywin Lannister sacked the city during Robert's Rebellion. When the capital was captured, as he fought for the losing Targaryen side, he had that classic choice of taking the black or being executed. And like most people, he chose to take the black. So he's actually, where we are in the books right now, he is the Master at Arms of the Night's Watch at Castle Black.
Oh yeah, and that means the end of Book 1, just to clarify.
Yeah, so where we are in the server is Book 1, Series 1. So he's actually responsible for training all the new recruits. And he's actually the character that gave Jon Snow his nickname of Lord Snow. And when Jon learns of Eddard Stark's imprisonment in King's Landing for treason, Alistair makes rude remarks which actually anger at Jon and lead to kind of souring their relationship further. And Sir Thorne is then sent to King's Landing with the Hand of a White as proof of the incoming White Walker threat in an attempt to increase numbers at the Night's Watch. But, the Night's Watch has always been in decline because criminals, it's always, most of them are given the choice of taking the black or execution, but there's so many castles along the wall that it's almost impossible to have all of them fully manned, because with the Night's Watch you can't have any wives or girlfriends, you're not meant to do any jiggies so it's very limited, so it's not appealing to people unless it's a death or this choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So also when he went to King's Landing with the Hand, I think it took a little while to get there, and the Hand was actually rotten when he reached it. So it didn't have that much of an effect on. It didn't have any effect, I think, on the numbers of the Night's Watch. But yeah. So we're actually at the inn in the village now. The sun is setting, so we are gonna have a nap here, but we will have a nice look around first.
I mean, for me, one thing I find it's really interesting to point out is that the castle was actually built in early 2015, which was, 4 years ago now. And from looking at the style of the houses and the castle in particular, which we'll get into later in the episode, there are some changes. So for instance, now the server, we don't really use the oak supports anymore, but it doesn't look like a 4-year-old build. And I know that lots of builds get redone, especially builds that are as old as this. But for me, in my opinion, I would just say that this build needs certain touch-ups, but I don't think it needs a full redo. But you can always tell how old the build is if you go into their gatehouse and you go into spectator mode and you can see redstone commands.
Yeah, like the
That's how you know a build old.
Yeah, because we used to have the plugin that allowed the portcullis to go up and down with a lever, but that hasn't been working for a really long time. So
I remember. That's how I know I've been on the server for ages. I remember when that used to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it might still be in there, but it's broken.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah. I think it's when they updated the server, maybe it changed, but all of a sudden it just stopped working. But
yeah, so we had a little nap. It's morning now. We will have a nice look around the castle in the morning light, and then we will have a look inside of the castle as well. Nice little sept there as well. I think we covered all the lore that we had, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mainly just about Alistair Thorne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as is a prominent character in the series. Well, especially in the earlier seasons.
Yeah, touching on what we were talking about earlier, we are set in Book 1, Season 1, so there is more information about the house, but it just comes after where we are.
Yeah.
And that
So
will be the
survey,
case
yeah.
with all of most of the builds actually, that people will say, why don't you talk about this?
Lucia likes those
I
windows.
do. I like. Maybe it's one of those things that the server changes style as it develops and it grows and more builders join. But this is something I don't recall seeing that often, where they have the stone and then there's little cuts in the stone and then there's dob and wattle. But I think it looks nice. It looks like the building has eyes. But I must say, and this is not to be critical, it's on every single window apart from one at the very front. It's like, oh
yeah, because every side has 2 of those windows.
Apart from the front has one.
Yeah.
It's like when you see those photos of like OCD things where it's like one block is like slightly out of place.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, no such thing as true perfection, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing would have been perfect. Like in the Middle Ages, when they wanted to build a circle or a square, it was always like a little bit off, I guess.
Well, have you ever tried
Most
to draw
of
a
the
circle?
time.
They say apparently you can't draw a perfect circle unless you're like a psychopath or something.
Oh, okay.
Or a genius, one of the two. Is there a difference? We'll see.
Yeah, so we're inside of it now. It's a nice Norman style keep. Over here is the kitchen and the basement. And the washing room over here. It's quite dark in here though.
Have you not got any of your torches?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't use them. So you can see the house colors as well in the carpets, the red and the black there, which I like. I like the color. I like red and black.
You can also see with an older build, they use the lever to represent like a quill.
Mm-hmm.
But now they do have the flagons here, but it tends to be used more often with the putra flagon
Oh yeah,
block
the putra.
as like a black pot of ink.
Mm-hmm. I do like I don't think the lever is that bad.
Yeah, because the lever doesn't really get used that often in the server that it would be confusing to people. Or it could potentially be opening a trapdoor, you don't know. Oh, yeah.
Did it actually?
No.
No, it didn't.
Well, if it did, it doesn't work anymore.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. So yeah, I do like, we'll come back to it in a moment. Like, for example, this staircase, it goes to the upper level, but it doesn't connect to this level's side where the Lord's Chamber is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a loop that you can do. Like there are different staircases that connect to different parts of the building. For example, like you'll see it in a moment, we'll go all the way to the top and we'll take a different staircase down, and that's where like the Maester and the Lord will be.
Yeah, but you can also access that staircase if you go onto the Lord's dais. There's a door there that has a staircase that will lead up to the Lord's bedroom and the Maester's bedroom, and then that connects up to the Rookery.
So over here, this because they don't have a little courtyard, they can use this top level to train.
Some intense fighting.
Yeah. And the mannequins were waving at us.
Hello!
You can see a nice view over the surrounding lands as well here. Like, they're waving. You can see, yeah, like you said, that you see the variety of fields as well. This is actually to the left over here is the Maesters Rookery. And yeah, if we go down these stairs, we will get to the Maesters Chamber. Yeah, I wanted to close the door.
I'm looking, I was like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Yeah, and I like this little herb patch that they have over there. I like this little section with herbs.
Yeah, I would have been nice. It would have been nice to see it maybe on the roof. But I guess some of these things like mushrooms, they need the darkness to grow. Well, that is one thing with mushrooms. The smell that if you ever grow mushrooms, the smell that comes off the soil and the mushrooms itself actually isn't that pleasant. Yeah,
here is the Lord's room, and probably his wife or one of his sons connecting room to it. Privy.
Talking about unpleasant smells, here's the privy.
Yeah, and this is nice little sitting room. It's a little room to sit at.
Who sits in there though? Imagine opening the door, you're sitting, writing, and then someone will stab you right in the back.
Wow.
Betrayal. Bum,
So
bum, bum.
I think this is back to the main level, where we'll end up where you were saying earlier, behind the dais. If we go through one of these doors.
No.
I think it's this one. No.
Mm-hmm. It's the one right at the end.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you have some other nice bedrooms here as well.
But I think there is a really good use of space in this build. Because sometimes you can see with builds, I don't know, I find that bedrooms tend to get a little boring. So at the end of the day, there's only so much you can put in a bedroom.
Yeah.
You can't be putting, unless it's the Lord, you can't be putting dining room tables and things like that in bedrooms. But I think with the interesting angles and the shapes to fit it all in, they've
good job.
Good job.
So
it's nice. I stand by my point definitely from earlier that even though this is a build back from 2000 and early 2015, I think it's really a really good build. It has aged really well, especially compared to some of them.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Harrenhal.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like really old.
Yeah, that one's like 13, isn't it?
Yeah,
13,
I think
14.
The only thing for me is the messy touch that kind of gives it away to me that it's old. But yeah, we're at the end of the video. So thanks for... oh no, we have to do the poll, don't we? For next week's poll, so next week's episode, you can decide between Cressy and also Hart or Hearty, which is north of Thorne. And we have another one, which is back all the way south. When we were at Edgerton, we can go to Rosby as well, if you want to go back south. So yeah, Rosby, another major castle in the region. So those are your options. You can click the I button at the top of the screen to vote. Thanks for watching. On screen right now you can find the links to the playlist of WesterosCraft walks, link to my personal channel, and in the description you can find the links to our social media.
Oh, and also check out the wonderful cinematics done by Veggie.
Yeah.
Bye guys.
Bye.